Example 7 is a very good example. It's very musical, it's authentic sounding, so let's look at this. You have this idea of the syncopation where I mentioned earlier they're playing on the offbeats, on the ands. I also said that it's important you count these rhythms, that you feel them. And I really want to stress this, so listen to what I'm going to do. If I count this and I go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, you're feeling the groove, right? No, I don't think so. It should be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and da 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 da. So I'm singing the eighth note, so I'm going. That's one, and also I'm not singing like a drum machine going. You know, I'm going to give you a little lesson on singing drum grooves. Sing these eighth notes. Feel the pulse on the 1 and 2, because a little more weight on the number and a little less on the and, unless you have an accent, which occurs in Latin rock guitar. So if we go da 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 da, and practice singing it really quickly. If you can sing it, I promise you, you'll be able to play it with much more authority, and you'll be the joy of other drummers that work with you and other musicians, because they'll say, this guy's a groove master. It's very important. So example 7. The cool thing about that is that you can feel this accent almost like they're going like vroom da 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 vroom da da. So you've got a stop of the band, then there's other horn parts going on top of it. Let's play this along with the jam track. One, two, three, four. Go ahead and stop the drum track. I don't know if you noticed, but a couple times I let the and of 2 sustain out. So you had 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. I can't help but want to play variations. So play it as written, meaning the staccato on the and of 2, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And that's very strict, almost starting to sound like a tango or something. Da, 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 da. You got a lot of staccato taking place. So you soften it a little bit by going, maybe. What happens if we go? It changes the whole character just by playing an eighth note staccato or letting it be tied over to another eighth note. Okay, so if you don't understand what I just talked about, rewind the tape. That's probably the best advice I can give you. Go back and listen and practice counting them. And take an example like 7 and say, okay, I'm going to do a variation. I'm going to tie the and of 1 over into 2. So I'm going to let it ring for a full beat. And then play those examples. If you bypass this little step, you're going to miss out on all the subtle variations that you can come up with. All right, let's finish this lesson by playing along with the jam track. And I'll do the same thing. I'm going to play it as written for a couple bars. Then you play it back to me, same thing. And then I'm going to play some variations. And you just steal some of those variations and have some fun. We'll toss the ball back and forth. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now, the last example, I went. We're going to get into these ideas of playing not just on the eighth notes and playing on 16ths or pushing something. Subtle things like that are real important. That was example 7. Now, in example 8, we're going to go back to these arpeggiation ideas and palm muting and creating some variety where it's not as dense.